most outstanding player in the tournament in my eyes has been, I don't want to call it an easy bet, but the Remy Martin one stuck out to me early, and I'm kind of latching on to him as my guy for Kansas. But it's kind of interesting to draw these correlations between the team, their team odds to win it all, and the player, the best player on each respective team, and the gaps there. So you want to take Duke, for example, and Jim, I know you've got another player on Duke that you're targeting, but Duke's plus 160 to win the title. Paolo Banchero's 3-1. I'm taking Paolo instead of Duke. I'm getting a little more extra cheddar there on that bet. Is that an approach that you would take if you're looking for this futures market to find some value? You go with the player instead of the team. And if there is a player on each respective team that you would identify, who would those players be?
Yeah, I think that's a great way to look at it. I don't want to steal your thunder. You did some excellent research on this. Even just when we were discussing before the show, kind of influenced my thinking here. So I'll let you reveal that whenever you're feeling it.
Sure.
But yeah, like Villanova, I think if they win, Colin Gillespie's winning most outstanding player. I know that Samuels has been great and he won the region award, but it's going to be kind of like a lifetime achievement award, I think. Also, without Moore, he's clearly going to be the guy in the backcourt. I think they'll play through him on the block a little bit. His post up game is even more important without Moore's there anymore. So yeah, I would lean the value there. Martin, he already mentioned. I think he's still like 12-1, which is nuts to me. He just won the region most outstanding player too. Was their best player. Bill Self talked about how important his scoring run has been. So yeah, I think targeting the player is probably an apt way to go. Dan, is that what you're looking at too?
Yeah, well, I'll let Jared run through some of the names that we've seen in the past, but I think there's value on all these teams where if they make a run, like for Villanova, I mean, they could if they win it all, it might be because a guy like Eric Dixon out of nowhere has two really good games, and then that's what makes him win the award. Like for Duke, like yeah, Banchero's the headliner there, but it might be because a guy like AJ Griffin hits like 10 threes in a game, or the next game he's all over the place, owning the court. Where if defenses like North Carolina is focusing on shutting down Banchero, the reason they win might be another guy. Same thing with Kansas. Like Remy Martin is definitely the guys that have been running them through this bracket, but Agbaji's sitting there, a guy that's up for National Player of the Year awards possibly, and he's been struggling in the tournament. But there's definitely value if you're thinking like, all right, maybe he starts getting hot and plays like the guy he's been all year.
Yeah, I would recommend if you're thinking about making a futures bet this week, you crawled out from under a rock, you haven't bet, we all have some pre-tournament or some mid-tournament futures that I do think offer a little bit of value. But week of the Final Four, I think the MOP market is where you can extrapolate and extract the most value in the market if you want to bet futures. Banchero 3-1, Duke plus 160. Abaji 5-1, Remy Martin now plus 850, Kansas plus 180. Like you can kind of see the direction I'm going in there. And if you want to take it even to a more extreme, the most extreme, Caleb Love 20-1, UNC 5-1. I mean, that's a pretty big gap. And again, you have to choose correctly the player, but you also have to choose correctly the team. So either way, I would rather risk less to make more in the MOP market right now than to try my hand with the actual futures market. I would rather play that straight with individual bets or prop bets, which we'll get to in a minute. Thank you both for mentioning it wasn't really that intense research. I just went back and looked at the last 7-8 most outstanding players. They've all been guards. Jared Butler, Kyle Guy, Dante DiVincenzo, Joe Berry, Ryan Arcidiacono, Tyus Jones, Shabazz Napier, Luke Hancock. The last time we had a big man win this award was 2012 with Anthony Davis, and there's no Anthony Davises in this field. Maybe Banchero's the closest thing we have to that. But Jim, that you said that skewed your thinking a little bit with where you think this market might land.
Yeah, I think it's about scoring. And as much as I wanted to maybe go with the dark horse Mark Williams prop for Duke because I think he's so important with the way he controls the rim, that just doesn't matter that much to the voters unless you're a total alien like Anthony Davis was, blocking every single thing. So that makes me a little bit intrigued by Jeremy Roach, 20-1, a little bit correlated to the Tyus Jones win back in 2015. He's on a team with Okafor and Justice Winslow, both who went much higher than him in NBA drafts. But he had the ball in his hands. He hit the big clinching shot against Wisconsin at the top of the key. Definitely lasted in people's minds with his performance. And Roach has been playing great. Re-entered the starting lineup for this tournament. had those couple clutch shots down the stretch against Texas Tech. Those like really difficult fadeaways. Showed he's capable of making that kind of shot. I think he'll have the ball in his hands late again. So that's at least a reasonable value to me at 20-1 for Roach and the Blue Devils.
Yeah, that makes sense. Dan, anything to add on MOP before we start capping these games?
Well, you're just running through those names like Dante DiVincenzo, Luke Hancock. I mean, all those guys, like Jim was mentioning, weren't the best player on that team. And I can only imagine what the odds were for Luke Hancock to win most outstanding player. So I
Family
mean,
didn't exist really back then in 2013.
right?
So,
But like going back to what I was saying earlier, like look at a team like Kansas. If you think Kansas is going to win it all, I mean, look at Christian Brown's odds, or
yeah.
Jalen Wilson, guys that were maybe a little overlooking. David McCormick could just start waking up and have 2 monster games in a row. So there's definitely value on there, and worth betting if you think like Kansas is going to win, Duke's going to win, to take those those better odds.
Just to remind everybody, we did give out Remy Martin at 50-1 like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So hopefully one of you out there besides me is holding on to one of those tickets. I feel very good about that future position.